Hi, my name's Suzanne Robbins, and you're watching Inner Peace. I love to art journal, and I am here to share my process with you. I have found a lot of joy and a lot of benefits from art journaling, and I want to share the fun and the self-discovery that is available when you set aside time every day for some creativity, for some self-exploration. So I love fairies and angels and rainbows and butterflies and all the woo-woo things. I love hard work. I love applying myself for outcomes. And yeah, but this is about art journaling. So I am here to share my processes, to share my peace. We are here to be in our peace. And the main reasons that you should art journal, in my humble opinion, are these. There are three. Number one is to know thyself, to know yourself. And that is a lifelong pursuit. To really take time with ourselves is such a gift. It's such a blessing. It's something you deserve, and I hope you do it on a regular basis. Give yourself time and space and thought and opportunity to really get to know who you are, your own voice, what you want, to be able to articulate it, and to be able to be in all of your different emotions, and really get to appreciate and love the magnificent creation that you are, that each one of us are. I have struggled severely with self-worth issues my whole life, and art journaling has really given me an entry point into true healing. And I'm ready to next level my healing, which is, a side note, one of the reasons why I'm here on YouTube, because I think that we learn the most and we integrate the most the things that we teach. And so I want to teach you techniques that are fun and enjoyable and beautiful and deep, to help you love yourself, love your life, know yourself and know your life, and be creative. Reason number two to art journal, to develop positivity. This is a huge one for me. This is a huge one for me because as I've gotten to know myself, what I've learned is that I definitely lean toward despair. Big time. I lean toward worry and guilt and shame and despair. And I don't like it. I don't. Like, I know there's a big movement to accept and love yourself wherever you are, and I understand that there's a lot of value in that. And trust me, I have plenty of times where no matter how hard I try to get positive or stay positive, there's just too much negative drain. And I do have to accept it, and I can use art journaling for that. But my, a real big why for me is my stubborn side is bound and determined to be optimistic and positive no matter what. And so I art journal to develop relationships with the divine, with my higher self specifically, with my angels, with all, I call them my friends in the light, be they experienced with the five senses or not. I do believe in that sixth sense, and that there is a whole vibrating universe that is beyond our five senses, that is really influential and present and available to us. And I tap into that presence in my process, which you'll see a lot of. So yeah, that's reason number two, to develop positivity and then cultivate and grow and strengthen, just like going to the gym. and lifting our weights, we've got to, go to the art table and develop our positivity muscles. Firmly believe that. And then reason number 3, I do it to visualize, to motivate, to inspire, to assure myself to achieve my dreams. And so in this particular video, as you will see, as I got present with my colors and my art journal, my pencil, my breath, my presence, as I tuned in to hear my higher self, I received the message not to quit. Just don't quit. And I want to be successful as an art journalist. I really, 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 really do. And so I don't want to quit. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, don't let me quit. Don't let me quit. Don't let me quit. Okay, we got this. So here we are at my art table. And I'm going to do a voiceover for you, just talking about my process. So yeah, here I am. I've got my paint palette. Those are Daniel Smith watercolors. And over the last 13 years, I've developed a process that I call chakra girling. And it started at a real pivotal point in my life where I had to make some major changes and I needed help from my higher self. And I sat down with an inexpensive, wide-ruled notepad and a pencil and just started tuning into my higher self. And I was given this process called chakra girling. More specifically, what came out of it was the 12 points of light. So what you see me doing here is just opening up into that mindset of receptivity with my higher self. And it starts with just light pencil strokes. I've identified 12 points of light that are relevant to me, and those are encoded in the paper here. I did that initially, and then I drew the chakras from the root up to the crown as a representation of my own embodiment of myself opening up to my higher self to receive guidance and wisdom, and most of all peace, that I am not alone here, that my life has meaning and purpose, and I can accomplish what I'm here to accomplish with peace and presence and joy. So you can see here now, more setting of the tone, brought in the water. I like candles, use stones, water, breath. The 4 elements are a very integral part of my art journaling process. And I appreciate the support that I feel from all the feminine aspects of God as I bring in the elements, and also the masculine too. Now you see I'm getting ready to bring in some color. So it starts lightly with just basic materials. You can do this with the most inexpensive materials, with the set of Crayola paints and the paintbrush that comes with them, a jar of water, and really inexpensive paper. A lot of the times I just use notepads that I get from Dollar Tree or Five Below, and I've made whole art journals out of a $3 pad or $5 pad, and cost does not need to be a barrier. I should address here, my color selection is really intuitive. So a minute ago I just waved my magic paintbrush over the paints to decide and dipped into the blue and the green, and then put some white in. And I don't put much thought into it. There's not a plan. I didn't go into this with any particular intention other than peace. This YouTube channel is all about inner peace, and so that's going to be my intention every time. And this time we started right there. I mentioned that I drew the chakra system, so now I'm just doing a close-up of a head, and quite often this is what happens. I do a lot of feminine heads and landscapes. My higher self really seems to be able to connect with me through those two representations. A lot of birds as well. Just loose, intuitive brush strokes. I have studied a little bit just the proportions of a head and upper body, and so I'm able to use my intuition to position things. And I've also practiced a lot with the brush strokes. I want to tell you though that I'm not a trained artist. I am completely self-taught. I took a couple classes in high school and I loved them, but I never got complimented or called out for any particular talent. So I call myself an intermediate artist, self-taught at best. Here at this point, I started to feel that nudge from my higher self. And when I did a brushstroke that represented an ear, I heard the term hear her. So I wrote that down, and then the message of this particular session is don't quit. And so for the remainder of this video, the thought that was predominantly in my mind was, how can I keep myself from quitting on my dreams, my goals, my intention to be happy and peaceful in a world that is so full of negative pull, right? I mean, there's no denying it, that you have to work really, really hard to stay positive, and the negative pull is just baked in. So it requires a lot of strength, a lot of resilience not to quit. And so this whole process, yes, twinkle, twinkle. Don't quit. Be at peace. When I put my hand up and wiggle my fingers, that is me reminding myself to let my higher self speak to me of peace. And the songbird over the last 13 years has come to represent for me self-love in a very humble, receptive quality of presence. I invite self-love in every single morning and pray for the ability to really accept my value, my worth, and the fact that the divine wants us to be happy. I pray that that becomes our reality, that we can integrate the divine will for joy and peace into the shadow parts of ourselves, to illuminate all that has stressed us out, filled us with angst, anger, resentment, disappointment. Help us, please, to see, if we draw the eyes, to smell, the mouth to taste, to feel, to know, to hear all the good that is available for us, right? So when you go to do your head, and I hope that you take this on, you take this challenge to art journal a little bit every day. 5 or 10 minutes can work miracles in your life. But just real basically, the proportions of a face, draw an oval, come down halfway, draw 2 lines for the eyes. And then between the eyes and the chin, halfway, that's where you would do the bottom of the nose. And then between the bottom of the nose and the chin, halfway is the bottom of the lip. And then you can eyeball it from there. Where do you think the eyebrows should go? And you're going to get it wrong sometimes. It's going to look wonky. Sometimes I have so much bad art. And that is part of the process too. The feelings that come up when you're doing art that you think is bad is really important healing opportunity. So play with those proportions. And then when you're ready to do the ears, the top of the ear usually lines up with the eyebrow, and then the bottom of the ear lines up with the bottom of the nose. So it feels like you're going to make your ears too big when you do that, but I promise you it works. So anyhow, those are the basic proportions. And then for a body, quite often I do more of a landscape type of deal. So either a body of water, or imagine a hill or a mountain range. Here we're putting in some cheekbones. Confession, I'm not the best at shading and shadows, and quite often I go in for detail and my paintings start to look really cartoonish, and detail tends to ruin it. So I often will stay really loose and light, and I'm playing around with new techniques all the time. I've definitely improved from when I first started, but you guys, I started with a stick figure. I'm not even kidding you. My very first chakra girl session, when I drew the chakras and a representation, was literally a stick figure. And I've had to develop to the point where I feel comfortable doing a more full-bodied figure. Right here, I'm playing with my rings. I'm getting real prayerful at this moment. And my rings represent things that are special and sacred to me. I don't want to get into the details of that now, but my hope is that you can bring in some of these practices that I do and find points of light and symbolic representations that you can wear and think about that mean something to you. So now I'm removing the bird and placing it over the head of this image, and I love the way that the line comes down from the ear and touches the wing of the bird. That was not intentional. I just wrote self-love, and that is, gosh, such a keen reminder, such a beautiful synchronicity, a little baby miracle to remind me to hear from my higher self how loved I am, to love and appreciate this moment exactly as it is, to be at peace with all the things that could take me away from peace, right? I've signed it, I'm waving, I'm praying for my peace, for your peace, that we can be with our inner peace. So much love.